The struggle to control the ongoing chaos at college campuses across the United States. This was the scene just a little while ago in Madison, Wisconsin, as police and protesters clashed at the University of Wisconsin. Watch this. According to the student newspaper, campus police gave protesters some 15 minutes to remove their tents. It's not clear if any arrests have been made. I want to bring in our CNN security correspondent, Josh Campbell. He's in Los Angeles on the campus of UCLA, where protesters and counter-protesters actually clashed overnight, and the LAPD was called in. Josh, we've seen a shift in the efforts by colleges over the last 24 hours around the country trying to regain control of their campuses by calling in the police. What are you seeing as this effort moves forward? I don't know if Josh is hearing me. Josh, are you
Wolf,
hearing
having
me?
some audio issues. I didn't hear your question there. But obviously, we've been talking about these protests that have been happening, particularly this morning, this incident at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where you saw authorities move in, start disassembling one of the many protest camps that we've seen at various universities across the United States. Police moving in. You saw some confrontations with protesters there on this video where they were locking arms, pushing against police, the police then pushing against them. This is all part of an escalation that we've seen at various campuses, different universities handling these protests very differently. But of course, we saw recently at the University of Texas at Austin, for example, police there moving in as this small camp was set up, authorities not wanting that to then grow to a larger encampment. And of course, overnight at Columbia University, after days, we saw police eventually move in there, that ending thankfully quite peacefully. And of course, where we are right now here at UCLA, you see a large police presence here on standby. I know our colleague Stephanie Ilma is going to talk about what happened here overnight, but we're seeing a lot more forceful posture from law enforcement. Of course, it's yet to be seen what happens at this university with this encampment, Wolf.
All right, Josh, I want you to stand by for us. We're going to get back to you in a few moments. But right now, I want to bring in Lindsay Dubin. She's a student at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. Lindsay, thanks very much for joining us. You were there. You saw what was going on. Tell us what you saw.
Yeah, so I received a text this morning that the police were moving in to remove the encampment, and I quickly got out of bed and went to go watch what was happening. And at first, it was people berating the police with insults, but it hadn't gotten too crazy yet. But as, more tents were removed and a couple people were detained, things got a little bit more violent. And, I started to move back, and it's heartbreaking. It really is.
It certainly is. What's the situation, Lindsay, like there now?
Well, I went back to my apartment, but the police have gone as far as I can tell. They left, and there's one tent still there, and a bunch of protesters, and the protest goes on.
How long was the protest encampment at the University of Wisconsin in Madison in place?
It's been 2 days.
And how do you think the university has handled this situation?
I don't think there's really a right way to go about this. Even if you consider these laws unjust, MLK said civil disobedience requires that the individuals who break the laws willingly accept the consequences of doing so. I mean, we're in college now, we're adults, and there are policies and laws in place to protect students. And when you break those laws, you have to accept the consequences.
Right now, I want to bring in CNN Stephanie Elam. She's on the campus of UCLA. That's in Los Angeles. Stephanie, it was a violent night there. Pretty shocking. Where do things stand now?
Much calmer at this time of day, Wolf. And I just want to show you, though, you can still see what's left over of what happened last night, starting closer to midnight here on the campus. And I can tell you, I was here all day yesterday, and it was fairly calm. You saw a few people yelling over the barricades, but that's it. But you see there's this barricade here, then there's this walkway, and then there's that barricade. What the video we saw from last night shows, it looks like people from this side were pulling on the barricades. They were throwing things into the pro-Palestinian camp on that side there. We did see some sort of liquid being shot back out from that side there, but it did seem like they were trying to destroy and pull away the plywood from this side. There was security that was in this center area that was trying to put the barricades back in place. But this is where a lot of the students had questions about where was law enforcement. In fact, the Daily Bruin, the school newspaper with the student journalists, writing today that they think UCLA is complicit because even though they said yesterday, the chancellor said that there would be more security on campus, this went on for a while on campus before law enforcement arrived. And we did see that Mayor Karen Bass put out a statement calling it abhorrent, what she was seeing here on campus. And then we saw law enforcement starting to make their way onto campus after 1 a.m. And then in that time, there were still some people out here protesting. We watched them put up a wall, push people out, much calmer now, but still unclear, Wolf, what this means going forward today as far as this encampment, which obviously is still here.
We'll be watching it together with you. Stephanie, thank you very much. I want to go back to CNN's Josh Campbell. He's also out there at UCLA for us. Tell us more, Josh, about the law enforcement response at UCLA.
Well, it's a lot quieter here right now, Wolf, obviously, than we saw overnight with some of those stunning images of what was taking place just behind me at this encampment where you saw fireworks, you saw obviously those clashes. This is the copy today of the Daily Bruin. You see this encampment and fireworks going off. Unclear if there were any injuries. It's worth pointing out, as our colleague Elizabeth Joseph noted, that so much of the great information we're getting is from student journalists. Some of these newspapers have been in business for over 100 years doing critical reporting to include about what law enforcement is doing, what they're not doing. Right now, you can see it's just kind of a wait and see approach right now. The university president has deemed this encampment to be unlawful, quote unquote. It's unclear if there will be simply academic penalties or if authorities will actually go in. But as we pan over, you can see multiple agencies here, from the California Highway Patrol, the UCLA Police Department. You have Los Angeles Police Department, the sheriff, a line of cars here. Again, this is much different than what happened as this kicked off overnight. And that's really one of the criticisms that we've been hearing. There were private security guards that were here on site, but you didn't see this robust law enforcement posture, which is obviously worth noting, particularly what we've seen in other places across the country. But finally, you can see behind me, this is the encampment right now. This is where Stephanie was just a moment ago. I was talking to some of the people in there just a short time ago. They say there's no plan that they have right now to actually leave. This is a similar posture we've seen at these encampments across the country. Of course, the big question we're waiting to see, what will law enforcement here do? Will they actually go in and clear that encampment, or will this just continue to be a negotiation of sorts? We'll have to wait and see, Wolf.